Hi, my name is Lindsay Stiefel, and this is my creative project for Humanities class, Dr. Huffnagel's class. I was very excited when this project opened up and I saw that we were able to do a visual art piece. My original degree plan at TCC when I was younger and going to college was to get a bachelor's of fine arts with a specialization in oil painting. And since I work so much now, you grow into your adult life, I don't have as much time to paint anymore, so this gave me a really good reason to dive back into it, which I appreciated. And I was particularly excited also because I feel that painting is really a marriage of what photography and literature do. And that's been this whole course, is discussing documentary and photography and literature and film and things like that. So I just felt like that was even more fitting for me to do it this way. My inspiration piece from our lessons is America Seen Through Photographs Darkly by Susan Sontag. This work also provided me with two other inspirations, the poetry and literature of Walt Whitman and the photography of Diane Arbus. So Sontag notes that Walt Whitman tried to see beyond the difference between beauty and ugliness, importance and triviality. It seemed to him snobbish to make any discrimination of value based off of those. She also goes on to say that Walt Whitman believed each precise object or condition or combination or process exhibits a beauty. It becomes superficial to single out something as beautiful and others as not. He really preached empathy, concord and discord, and oneness in diversity. I have always really admired Walt Whitman's work. This premise in and of itself has always grabbed me. The premise of refining and appreciating beauty in non-conventional, non-superficial, sometimes even inherently uncomfortable situations and forms. The concept of beauty and conventional beauty is such a forced and very carefully manipulated ideal that we are also instilled in, and then you pair that alongside with the fact that beauty and importance and beauty and relevance and beauty and significance are more often than not in each other's pocket. And that's something that I've definitely experienced and realized as I'm approaching 30, is there's so much pressure on young women to be young and beautiful and all of these things, and they're just so scrutinized. But the closer you get to 30, the more the barometer is lower because you're exiting your 20s, you're no longer desirable anymore. So people stop scrutinizing you as much on those really superficial and important things. And I personally have found that so refreshing. And that's a side note that it's important to the actual piece when I go into describing it. Sontag then goes on to discuss the works of Arbus. She states that the most striking aspect of Arbus's work is that she seems to have enrolled in one of art photography's most vigorous enterprises, concentrating on victims and the unfortunate. And she then says that authority of Arbus photos derives from the contrast between the lacerating subject matter and their calm, matter-of-fact alertness. I think a juxtaposition of any two things in almost any scenario and setting always makes it more interesting, but especially in this visual art world. She really created a space. She curated a space, a mental headspace with her photos that were, like Sontag says, a moral theater for her straight-on contemplative portraits. I took bits and pieces of some things Sontag said, and just that sentence made the most sense to me in my head to summarize. So Arbus's photos actually led me to another inspiration artist. His name is Lucian Freud. He is one of my favorite modern day artists, although he is deceased now. He is the grandson or great-grandson of Sigmund Freud. And if that's not interesting enough, he typically has rendezvous with members of the royal family and things like that are very hush-hush. And his paintings are these larger than life, like larger than if you were spread eagle and a big X. Paintings, deep, rich oil paintings of people that are real and they are flawed and they are splayed out, not trying to hide anything, just unapologetically there. And they are very, very striking. and it felt like it was very in tune with Arbus's photos and what she was trying to accomplish and explore with that, and the same with Walt Whitman's literature and poems. Sontag goes on to say in her article that a photographer may have the right or feel compelled to give a voice to his own pain, while writers volunteer to seek out the pain of others. And I thought that was just another great reason to go with an oil painting, because as I said, I truly believe that paintings and any visual art that you create from a space that has nothing on it is really truly to me like a merger of photography and literature. I completed this project in oil paints. I mentioned earlier that I am an oil painter. I actually went and made my own canvas. You will see on there that there are bits of frayed yarn done in a grid pattern, and then there are these bits of loose fabric on the top and the bottom hanging over that I gessoed on top of the canvas before doing the actual painting. One of the reasons I love oil paints is because you really have to have a good grasp on color theory. You have to know how to mix colors, how to make colors and shades that they would never think of making. Even with blacks and whites, there are certain white colors that are better for an illuminating part of the skin versus not. So there's a lot of calculated things that you have to do, and while you're doing that, you tend to work through the emotions that are going into the painting, which is always just very cathartic. The reason I'm not touching it as I'm talking about it is because it's still wet. Oil paints take a long time to cure. I have made like a satin glaze to put over it when it's done, which will just kind of pop the color a little bit. And so this painting, this is where